Good morning, good afternoon, and good whatever time it is, and welcome to another episode of Trevantine. I'm your host, Trevor Larrick, coming to you live from my basement. This is the podcast where you get to hear the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of an 18-year-old senior in high school. So, the stream's changed up a little bit. I now got a cool new opening show title thing. I also got a little clock right here so you know what time I recorded this or what time I'm live right now, because I'm actually going to start doing these live every day. Let me open up the live thing. It's over here. Yeah, I'm going to start doing these live every day, hopefully around 8 a.m. depending on what time online school and everything gets started. Everything's still kind of hazy right now. We don't know what time certain classes are going to go live or what time everything else is going to go on. I know as of today, the only real conflict I have is at like 11:30. I have a Google Meets with my calculus teacher, and besides that, I think all our teachers are just kind of giving us free reign on whatever time we want to go do whatever. So I'm gonna take that as I need and just work around that. So this is the podcast where you hear the thoughts, feelings, and emotions. I already said this, but we're going to cover three things in this podcast. I think I might start making this a little more segmented. Ben gave me the suggestion to bring up just other stuff like meme ratings, this chonk meter, like a picture of a big cat, and just talk about it and see how just talk about how funny and stuff it is. But yeah, we discussed three things. One, what I'm doing today. Two, what's going on in the headlines. And three, how it's affecting us. Today, I should have a special guest, Bill Binger. He's one of the realest podcasters I've had. I've had him on a couple times on Trev Talks. But we're planning on doing this around 7:30. 7:34 right now, and I'm just kind of waiting for him to join the Discord. But I guess for now we could go through the headlines after I take my sip of coffee. And check this out. Bam, look at this. I got a scrolling ticker. I know, crazy, right? Crazy. And my little logo over here. This is all still a work in progress. I kind of threw this together last night. But anyways, some major headlines from the New York Times as of 3 minutes ago. They're saying that the coronavirus live updates is that world leaders are begging the public to stay home and U.S. lawmakers fight over aid. So they're saying that Spain's health system is under strain as medical workers fall ill, much like how Mr. Warren Barge talked about that yesterday on how we got to do our best to not let the medical workers get sick, even though with a short supply of medical supplies, there's not much else we could really do right now. And besides making homemade supplies and materials, it's kind of like whatever happens, So US governors are also pleaded for protective gear. The New York City's mayor said the hospitals were 10 days away from running out of basic supplies. Ooh, 10 days, that's not a lot of time. And I think Warren Barge did a great job covering this. If you haven't listened to that yet, listen to it. He talked about how people should start donating all their extra goods that they really don't need. Like if you're at home quarantined, but you have 250 masks in your basement, why would you not give that up and give it to people who needed it, such as New York, who's running out of supplies literally? So it's just kind of figure out what happy ground needs to be done. And what we can do to fix it, The major headline right now that says, from right now, it says that President Trump said on Twitter that we cannot let the curve be worse than the problem itself. He's an interesting philosophical guy when it comes to stuff like that. And, he's not, we cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself. That's on me. I completely read that wrong. I have that curve stuck in my head. I think they're blasting that everywhere, and I was just trying to get it down. But I guess that's wise. I don't know. I don't know would it be a cure if it's worse than the problem itself? Um, I know a lot of countries all over the world are rushing to find a cure, or rushing to find a vaccine at least. And it's still going to be a while, though we might have some early test of it. We don't exactly have a lot of testing done already. So I think once we get that testing down, we should be AJ squared away. So here's what you need to know from the New York Times. It says economic anxiety deepens as lawmakers clash over stimulus package, and Europe plunges into further crisis. I'm actually going to open this up because I'm intrigued to see what they mean by further crisis. So we'll click on this link. But as we're going through, some more headlines is that Trump warns against letting the cure become worse than the problem itself, much like the tweet I just read. Let's see. So the debate is over an $1.8 trillion relief package. That's from the $1 trillion relief package we had last week or a couple days ago. Spooky. It says the virus has reached into the Senate itself, and with one lawmaker testing positive, two or more in isolation, and growing concern that many else have been exposed, negotiations in Washington have been set to resume on Monday. But the politically uncertainty added to the anxiety of investors around the world. Wall Street raced for another vital day after Asian markets suffered losses, and traders in Europe started the week on a gloomy note. So basically, it's in our government now, and I don't know if legally we can pass government, or legally what we can do is continue the operations of lawmaking online. But I think if our lawmakers are getting getting sick, and lawmakers are not able to do their job when they're sick, what's going to happen? I couldn't tell you. I think it'd be interesting if they do go online, if they have like Zoom meetings for all the senators, all the House. That'd be something funny to see. But it's intriguing time in this point of history, and we're facing a mass pandemic when everyone has the opportunity to do something like this. They're able to do a podcast and just talk about what they think, but also we have the same opportunity to go over to a different computer and start watching Netflix. It's just no time is ever a good time to have a pandemic, except a time in which you have something to get your mind off of it. And I'm on Snapchat. I'm just like any other teenager. But all these girls and all these people have been posting these things called YOLOs, or they'll just be like, write something about me. Or it's like, what am I the CEO of? And then people have just been writing in, and then people have been responding to those write-ins, and saying they agree, and just talk about like all the good times that there used to be. So I feel like moments like this is a good opportunity to reflect on the past and reflect on how things could be better, and just trying to figure out that middle ground, and trying to figure out what stance we could take to make things better is probably what we need to do. And if that's watching YouTube, if that's watching Netflix, or if that's making a podcast, I feel like if you can stay happy while being away from mass crowds and spreading the coronavirus, that's what you got to do in the end. So for this article, it says the postponement of the Olympic Games in Tokyo looked increasingly likely. Temple Mount, a holy site in Jerusalem, was closed to all worshippers. That's serious because religion is getting into it. That's another podcast I want to do. I want to get a couple very religious people and a not religious person in here to talk about how people think religion is affecting the virus, because I think that's definitely a very interesting stance when it comes to what people think are the causes and what people think aren't the causes, and combining those two is just intriguing to me. Going through racing to save the sick, Spain's health workers fall victim to themselves. Senate block action on $1 trillion stimulus plan. Keep your distance. Leaders warn there'll be consequences. I kind of want to open that up. What does that mean? It says New York region is now the epicenter of the outbreak in America, and Chinese officials appear to disagree to push the conspiracy theory about the United States. Two articles I actually want to go into, and I think going into them live like this is interesting, especially since Bill seems to be a little busy right now. We were going to go through the consequences because I don't think the United States will go into martial law, but I want to see what kind of consequences they're speaking of. So they're talking about New York being the epicenter. I saw Casey Neistat's new YouTube video. He FaceTimed one of his friends that still live in New York, and it was crazy to see how empty the streets of New York were. You're so used to seeing pictures and everything of New York just being hopping, like people being everywhere, and to see that, it's insane to see. It says Prime Minister Scott Morrison of Australia said on Sunday that if people don't comply with the social distancing measures, he was ready to introduce a far more, I don't know that word, I'm going to be real, draconian? Yeah, draconian, or I just googled it. Here's a legislator. Looks Greek, yeah. But it's of laws of application, extensively harsh and severe. Man, this is why we need to be back in school. But far more draconian measures after crowds thronged Australia's beaches over the weekend. So it looks like he's going to start implementing more harsh requirements. Maybe even getting into the military, the Australian military. And if they can get the military in there, that would be, a unique point of view. And it's like, where's the line that you could draw? Where can you, will people start uprising after that? We see in all these zombie movies that once the government takes control, everyone thinks they know what's best for them and what's the best thing to do. But in the end, the government usually ends up getting taken over by the zombie outbreak. But of course, these are the movies. This isn't real life. And it's an interesting case study, especially in the future once all this calms down, if it ever calms down. But let's try and be a little more optimistic. I think the case study itself would be interesting to see how major disasters like this impact human psyche. So we saw, like, in the United States after 9/11, there was an increased sense of patriotism and less partisanship, even though the next election went completely the other way because of, well, they had Hurricane Katrina. I was watching a Bush documentary and they talked about all about this, and it increased patriotism because we all went through a major disaster together, and now we are kind of doing the same thing, and we're, like Warren said, we're basically fighting another world war, but against a common enemy, and everyone's fighting it, and that's the coronavirus. And just the idea that what we can do as people is just work together to try and stop it. And things are going to be different right now. This might be different for a little bit, like that scene in an article I was reading earlier. It could be 18 months. We just got to do our best to fight together and stay strong. I know a lot of my teachers are rallying around the idea that we need to become more patriotic. But I also found this interesting. I saw a article somewhere that said partisan lines are kind of going out the window. Excuse me. It's early. It's whatever time it is. 7:46 right now. Not really early. It's earlier than it's been for me. But yeah, I'm gonna start doing these about 8 a.m. every day. I was gonna do 7:30 because Will had an online class at 8:30, but it looks like he's busy. But anyways, just going through, I saw an article that was like increased patriotism and decreased partisan lines. I hope there's increased patriotism and decreased partisan lines, because though many people may not like Donald Trump, he is our president right now, and we have to have faith in him. And if you don't have faith in him at this moment, I don't know who you have faith in, because then you're just on your own. Because him and his administration are ultimately the people who are trying to get us out the CDC, the WHO, everyone that is together and fighting this infectious disease is the people that are going to go in the history books. And in the future, we could either praise them, or in the future, we could either shun them. And we see this all around the world with and all throughout history, like MacArthur in the Philippines during World War II. You see all these people who are praised, but then you look back in history, see what actually happened, and then figure out that they left, or they didn't do what they could have done. We're already looking back at it now, and we're figuring out that we should have, and could have stopped like all airline travel way earlier, way sooner. We could have stopped a lot of things way sooner, way earlier, but we did it. And then now Corona is spreading through all of the United States, and it's all kind of, I don't want to say tumbling down, but we are, it's kind of getting a little hectic out there in the world. But now I think we should move on maybe to the Chinese officials appear to disagree on whether to push conspiracy theory about the United States. What does that mean? Going through, it says Chinese ambassadors to the United States sought to distance themselves from a prominent Chinese government spokesman who has been promoting a conspiracy theory that the coronavirus was started by the United States as an unusual display of discordance at the senior levels of the Chinese government. That's some Cold War stuff right there. That's something you would read in a textbook and be like, "Oh, that's not true." It's like the U2 bombings, or how many people think that the moon landing was the video was faked because they wanted to get ahead of the Soviets. It if it turns out that the United States created the coronavirus and just kind of like sprinkled it in over in China, that would be crazy to find out, especially in the future. And then I feel like the trust for the government would go down even more. So like what is the trust in the government? Let's do a statistic right now. Let's see, 2019. This is, I think, relevant enough. How do I interpret this graph? Holy cow. Wow, that's crazy. So it says this is from a People's Press. Oh, this is from the Pew Research Center from the U.S. Politics Policy. This is public trust in government from 1958 to 2019. Oh, here, let me put it up. I can put it up on screen for you guys. Let's go plain camera, and we'll just add it real quick. Window capture. Here we go. I'm starting to learn this myself too, guys. So we'll shrink this down a little bit, but we'll do fade in. Boom! Check it out. We got it right here. But as we can see in this little graph, this is the public's trust in the government reaching near historic lows, and this is from Eisenhower, about 73%. People trust the government to Kennedy, and to Kennedy of 77, which is interesting because he had the CIA. He had I think MK Ultra was during his time. He had the Cuban Missile Crisis. He had the failed Bay of Pigs, and then it seems to be after that just all kind of dropped down. And then Reagan brought it back up around 44. Bush brought it back up. Papa Bush brought it back up. Look at this. This is, if I can figure this out, this is the most interesting right here. Right after 9/11, like trust in the government skyrocketed. And then as we go through, Obama administration goes down further. Trump, as of March 25th, 2019, a year ago and 2 days, the moving average for trust in the government is 17% of people. Now, wow, that's it happens. That's crazy. I think as of now, if there is an updated statistic, it should go up. This is just my thoughts because after major crises like we see here, we see 9/11, it went up. What happened in 91? 91, the Soviet Union collapsed. So that made the trust in the government go up even higher. I believe the Soviet Union crashed in 91. who knows? I'm not a historian major. I'm a kid that likes to make podcasts. But to see after major disasters and stuff like this, we see that the trust in the government goes up. I believe there is going to be an increase in trust, between the government and um, the people after now, just because of what's been going on. And though people might not feel that what we are doing is enough to um, satisfy everyone, I think we're doing all that we can. So yeah, that would be an interesting headline to see if that was true. Now going back through all of the headlines, I think I covered all the major ones that have just happened. Let me refresh real quick, see if anything else has been popping. Nope, about the same. And then just, if you can, don't go to New York. New York is a sick, sick place right now. And yeah, so it's 7:53 right now. Will said he would be on. I don't think he's going to be on today, so I'm gonna have to just reschedule that for another time. But check this out, guys. So I have, I see you have this. I have my ticker right here, but I also have this right on call. Look at this. I had this window setup thing. This was so cool. This is his picture suggestion, so I was just gonna go with it, go flow with it. But yeah, I think it's just what's gonna be happening and what we can do right now. So I think that covers basically about two of the main things I normally talk about in my podcast, and that's what's going on in the headlines and how it's affecting us. Affecting us was going to be me and Will's discussion, but I think I covered a lot of that, talking about the trust in the government and the whole conspiracy thing. I think conspiracy theories arise all the time, and just trying to control them and making sure they don't get out of hand is going to be just, the best opportunity and best thing for the United States to have faith in our government and not, get taken away or get flown away. So yeah, just now moving on to what I'm doing today. This morning I woke up about 6:30, made some eggs, and I went to the grocery store today to try and find some toilet paper. It's starting to become a struggle now because toilet paper is not anywhere. And as much as I joked around with all the people that bought all the toilet paper at the beginning of the crisis, yeah, now we just don't have toilet paper, so that's cool. We still have toilet paper at our house, but as a community, I guess there's just no toilet paper. And I don't want to say it's unfair, but that's just the way it is. You can't do anything about it, and we could try our best every day to keep going, go as early as we can to get toilet paper. But for the time being, I think it's going to be time to invest in a bidet. Whatever happens. So after this podcast, I'll probably go to another store, see if there's toilet paper there, and then I was going to go work out at Emily's. And then today, being Monday, March 23rd, is the first day of online schooling. So like I said, I'm doing an online Google Meets at 12:30 with my calculus teacher, and then I have a bunch of other stuff going on. I know my AP Lit teacher wants us to read Act 1 of some Shakespeare play, which is only like 15 pages, so I can bust it out real quick. Calc, I have no clue what we're doing. I think he said to review. My physics teacher said to review 2 chapters. I'll probably just watch like a crash course on them. I don't know, because I don't want to read 150 pages today. Because I think this is my hot take on online school, is that a lot of people are just going to lose motivation and not do anything. I know, me being me, and senioritis hit me really hard. I know, like right before spring break, I was like, I do not want to go to school anymore, and I was hoping that spring break would cure this. Well, it kind of did. It cured seasonal depression, where everyone was like sad because it's gloomy outside, because it got warmer out and then the sun poked out again. But then, here in Missouri, it's been overcast every single day. It's been raining, it's been foggy, just hasn't been great weather, man. And even though like that's a good thing because it's like forcing people back inside, it's it sucks. Also, one interesting thing I've noticed is that since all this quarantine business has been going on, I've been seeing way more people outside. And I guess technically we that is quarantine as long as you stay separate away from people. But jeez, bro, it's astonishing to see how many more people I've seen outside. Just on my travels to my house and Emily's house, in the neighborhoods I see them everywhere, and it's like, whoa, that's weird. But I don't know. I'm not them. They're not me. I can't really make judgments on that. But going back through my school schedule, some of my coaches are posting workouts here. If I can pull it up really quickly, I will. Here's the head football coach. Yeah. He's talking about what to do in the face of the coronavirus. So let's play this real quick. I don't have it hooked up anywhere, so I'll just play it through my microphone.
Another isolated home gym workout myself. Sad to say I will not be seeing your bright, shiny faces this morning, but hey, you can see mine. On a serious note, I will definitely miss you. Hopefully, you will embark on this 5-week journey as we get through this little bump in the road time here. Remember, focus on yourself. That's the only thing you can control. Don't let your mind drift on anything else. I will be posting daily workouts. Make sure you put yourself on a scheduled routine. Don't be sleeping all day. Get up, attack the day, outwork yesterday, just like we do every day. I'll see you in 5 weeks. War Eagle.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Coach Jones, a head football coach of the Liberty North Eagles. And yeah, I think he summed it up there. Worry about yourself. Don't make other people sick. And don't let your mind wander, because once your mind starts wandering, that's when you go stir crazy, because you're going to be in your house for the next 5 weeks. At least here in Liberty we are. And yeah, it's just what goes on. Tomorrow is going to be the official shutdown of our city, so yikes, that kind of sucks. But there's not much else you can do. And then I'm glad he's still posting online workouts, even though they're going to be more calisthenic stuff, more like your burpees, your push-ups, sit-ups, which is good too. What my dad and I set up yesterday was a little gym. We set up our treadmill that we haven't used in years, but we set it up in the garage. Then my mom had a bunch of like 10-pound dumbbells and then these plastic barbells. So though it isn't a lot of weight, that's why you do negatives. I could also like tie things to it. Suitcase workouts are huge. I've been seeing that a lot. And it's coming from someone who was trying to be a bodybuilder, not bodybuilder, but I was building my body. I was working out every single day, every morning, trying to get pumped and trying to look jacked for the summer, which might not even matter anymore. This kind of sucks, broski, not being able to work out like we usually do. I just got a tweet from my principal saying they would like to welcome you back to school. But we're not back at school. We're all online school. But that's besides the point. And I think another thing I would like to do is bring up a couple of my bodybuilding friends to see how they've been taking the coronavirus, since a lot of the gyms are closed. Besides like Harrison Hewitt, who I had on here a couple episodes ago, who said his gym's still open. My gym's not open, so that's a bummer. And so I'll probably just do all my online schooling. Photography, I think there was definitely a spring break assignment that I didn't do, but I'll figure that out pretty soon. And then what other classes? Physics, I already went through that. I'm doing my media assignment right now for KNET and sports media, so I mean, we're thriving there. I think KNET was interesting is we're trying to figure out what to do, because every day we have a daily live show, and now we obviously can't do that because we can't go into school. But maybe TREVANTINE can take over that, especially if it starts happening at 8 a.m. instead of 7:30 a.m. I think 8 a.m. is a good enough time, but yet again, I also know that many of you guys don't wake up until after 9 because, it's priorities and you guys want to play Minecraft all night. I know I want to play Minecraft all night, but it's whoa. It's what it is, and I would love to hear your thoughts. You guys can tweet at me. You guys can email me. You guys can just write this in the comments section of the YouTube live. I just want to know, should I do it later? Should I do it earlier? Should I shave? Should I not shave? I told someone at the beginning of this whole pandemic thing that I wasn't going to shave until we go back to school, and I just might not ever shave ever again. So, wow, that's crazy. I think I'm going to shave my sides right here though, because I can't grow anything here, but I can grow stuff here, even though it doesn't look great. I was watching one of my old YouTube videos and I saw like the whole Washington trip, and when I went to Washington D.C., it was No Shave November, so I had a little bit of this. And I was like, ugh, that kind of doesn't look good. And like looking at it now, it kind of doesn't look good. And I wonder, like, with my new middle part haircut thing, if it would look better without the thing. But you know, it happens. That's the way it is. I think I'm gonna call it there. It looks like Will got a little busy today. Not mad at him or anything. I have a more exciting podcast planned out. I think tomorrow we're gonna be talking to the DECA kids, because we should have been at DECA State yesterday, and then we should have been getting back on Wednesday. And that's really sad, because me and my partner Spencer Pennington, we worked so hard on our DECA projects. And you know, it just fell short because of this whole coronavirus. And I know, like, whenever all the dominoes started falling, the NBA stopped, DECA State got postponed, then ICDC got canceled, and ICDC is our internationals. So once internationals got canceled, they were like, oh, let's do an online DECA State. But then we are like, why? And you know, it escalates from there. And then so DECA State eventually got canceled, which I'm kind of glad, because I didn't want to do a test to determine how well I would have placed, because I don't think a test is a proper measurement of your intelligence nor your presenting skills. So yeah, that's just a bummer. And then the rest of the day I'll probably just hang out, chill, and you know, just keep doing what I'm doing. So hope you guys tune in tomorrow, 8 a.m. live. We'll have the DECA kids in here, and then it should be interesting. Hopefully, we can get more people on board every morning at 8 a.m. So spread the word. This has been TREVANTINE episode 5. Trev's thoughts of the day of March 23rd. I don't really know what a good title for this episode, but it'll come to me. So hope you guys enjoyed. Wash your hands, stay clean, sanitize, and yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.